I want to recognize the senior minister, the senior officials of the government, the representatives of the media, and today I especially want to welcome representatives of the differently abled community represented here. I'm advised by Joseph Bergan, the president. I want to bid him welcome. Thank you for coming. We have, give him a special hand of welcome. We have Mr. Anthony Mills, past president. Thank you for coming. We have Mr. Rockcliffe Bowen, who is the president of the St. Kitts Society for the Blind. And we have Desiree Matthew, assistant teacher, the St. Kitts Nevis Association of Persons with Disabilities. I welcome all of you and thank you for taking the time. Did I omit one? What is the name? Oh, Sylvine, how dare I? I especially want to welcome too Mrs. Sylvine Henry, former senior public servant and now community activist. We are delighted by the presence of all of you. 4 years ago, Team Unity was elected to make our great federation stronger, safer, and more prosperous for all of our people. We started the journey to clean up the mess which Labour left behind. Today, it is a privilege for me to update you on the stronger, safer future we are building for all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. This is in keeping with the levels of transparency and accountability we promised before the last general elections and which we are delivering on. Team Unity continues working to create more jobs and opportunities, especially for our young people, to alleviate the cost of living pressures people are feeling, and to have our voice heard and respected on the world stage. Let me first of all report on my overseas engagement over the period September 23rd to October 1st, 2019. I led the St. Kitts and Nevis' delegation to the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, in New York City. Several other high-level meetings occurred in the run-up to and in the margins of the UNGA, including high-level meetings on universal health coverage, climate change, and sustainable development. Other members of my delegation included the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, the Honorable Mark Brantley, the Minister of Public Infrastructure et al., the Honorable Ian Patches Liebert, our Attorney General, Senator, the Honorable Vincent Byron, St. Kitts and Nevis' Ambassador to the United Nations, His Excellency Sam Kanda, permanent secretaries in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Office of the Prime Minister, Ms. Kebas and Mr. Andrew Skerritt, and other officers from the Office of the Prime Minister and our permanent mission of St. Kitts and Nevis to the UN. We accomplished much for the Federation and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we provided strong advocacy on issues that matter to our citizens and residents. These matters include job creation, climate change, correspondent banking, de-risking, the CBI, and human resource development. It was a very proud moment on Friday, September 27th, when the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, at long last, acceded to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities at the United Nations headquarters in New York. I was pleased to be part of that historic moment as the signatory on behalf of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Friday's signing delivered on my team Unity Administration's promise to Lance Corporal Joseph Bergan, the President of the St. Kitts Nevis Association of Persons with Disabilities and the members of the differently abled community, that we would get it done for them. This is something in the very first meeting Mr. Bergan pointed out needed to be done. And I'm happy today to report that we have done it and we have delivered on this promise made. So thank you today for coming. We in the Team Unity Administration take the approach that the differently abled are first and foremost people with a need for validation, just like everyone else. Many of them are and have been, for many decades, productive and upstanding citizens who have given their all to our country, but who are now affected by disabilities such as visual, hearing, or mobility impairments. Members of our distinguished elderly community who have developed disabilities are industrious citizens like retired senior civil servant and community activist Mrs. Sylvine Henry, Earl Clark, and the list goes on. We have several others who are here today. They and others like them spent their peak creative years contributing to the economic, cultural, and social development of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so it is only right and fair that their interests be prioritized at a stage in their lives when they need the benevolence and support of their country the most. My government has been mainstreaming care and consideration for the differently abled in our society. You see this reflected in the upgrade and rehabilitation of the Island Main Road in St. Kitts. Wheelchair accessible sidewalks have been incorporated in the road upgrade plan. Sidewalks with wheelchair access have also been included in the plan to enhance the South Frigate Bay area, specifically in the vicinity of the popular strip. Our East Line bus terminal and the refurbished Barstey Ferry terminal, which opened last year, both have wheelchair ramps, and so does our Inland Revenue Department at the John Gums building in the Bay Road. We will soon be operating a lift right here at government headquarters. This has been done in an attempt to make doing business in government headquarters much easier for the disabled and elderly people. Our new government printery will also be wheelchair accessible when completed, and it too will have an elevator. I wish to take this opportunity to announce that families with children suffering from autism can expect to see in the next fiscal year major changes in the state-funded support mechanisms for education, training, and treatment of these special children. I am advised by the Ministers of Education and Health that in fiscal year 2020, a spacious government property at Fort Lands will be repaired and purposely redesigned to accommodate all autistic children in St. Kitts. The current space at which they are at is inadequate, and so we are responding in the budget for the upcoming year to provide the necessary resources to put them in an environment more conducive to their wholesome development. While in North America, I held 2 hugely successful consultations with nationals abroad. These events took place in New York on Thursday, September the 26th, and on Monday, September 30th, 2019, in Miami, respectively. Both events had huge turnout of people, plus thousands more who followed via live streaming. The diaspora feedback was heartening to hear. As I traveled around North America, People told me that they noticed real positive change happening here in St. Kitts and Nevis. People mentioned the improvements in our infrastructure. Our safer communities was a big talking point. The increased tourism, and that more jobs and opportunities are now available for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. The other issues covered in the town hall meetings included our good governance and prosperity agenda, our positions on the motion of no confidence, the tenure of office of the Prime Minister Bill, electoral reform, in particular, residency requirement to enhance the fairness of the representative parliamentary democracy received much discussion and support. My cabinet colleagues Brantley, Liebert and Byron contributed excellently to the consultations. I am so very proud of our talented cabinet team, and I enjoy working with each and all of them. I commend our organizers in New York and Miami for facilitating such successful events. I am advised they were the largest and the best to date. In particular, I salute and thank the staff at the mission in New York. In addition, Joe DeBarber Mason, Leighton Esdell, and others for organizing the event in New York. And in Miami, we had the assistance of Monty Brown, Sharon Benjamin, and Lennox Liebert, who journeyed from New York to be in Miami, and of course several other citizens. They, in less than 36 hours, organized that hugely successful encounter in Miami. Truth be told, Miami came by special demand. After hearing the overwhelming success of the town hall in New York, we got several calls, and it was on Saturday afternoon we sat down and determined that we should not go back home without at least trying to hold a meeting in Miami. We called several of our nationals, their names I have mentioned, and in quick order they were able to put on such a very successful event. I want to give them a round of applause for their contribution in that regard. I should say that the citizens and well-wishers of our country are very supportive of team unity, and the huge turnout that we are getting at every event is an indication of their support for the government, their abiding and enduring interest in their country. They are confident that we will have the opportunity to continue rebuilding St. Kitts and Nevis for another 5 years based on Team Unity's outstanding record. I thank my cabinet colleagues who gave me support at the UNGA meetings and the Independence Church service. Truth be told, this was a very hectic agenda, going back to back with meetings after meetings and events. On Sunday, we had about 3 events taking place. A breakfast get-together at Joe DeBarber's residence. Then we had the Independence service. Then we had meeting with other groups. So it was very hectic. I reflect, though, on how the ministers, in particular Brandy, Liebert, Byron, and I, sat down for hours one day at my hotel, and with our staff, we crafted our country's statement to the United Nations General Assembly. We were a superb team, working in the best interest of our country in New York and Miami. We gave real meaning to unity at work, and we will continue to do so every day. Certainly, together, we are really better for St. Kitts and Nevis. We continue making progress in rebuilding St. Kitts and Nevis after years of neglect by the former administration. No other government, for the record, has delivered as much as we have in the short period of less than 5 years. We are not yet 5 years in office, and yet we have an outstanding record of delivery on behalf of the people. Take, for example, our record of support to the farmer sugar workers. We promised to pay farmer sugar workers and the assigned beneficiaries the additional resources denied them by the former administration. It was a big promise for Team Unity going into the general elections. You flip the cover of our manifesto, you will see about 7 or 8 items which we said we would prioritize. This is one now you can tick as having been delivered. For the record, the former government paid 968 former sugar workers when the industry closed in 2005. In contrast, we have provided financial payouts to 2,221 beneficiaries. This was supported by the sum of $16 million donated by the government of Venezuela, and an additional $1.5 million came from the Consolidated Fund to satisfy about 192 persons or applicants whose claims were tied up in the court processes because the sugar worker, the principal party, had died intestate or there were family issues. One will say, I am the one, and next one will come and contest. So that created a delay, and it became legally difficult when there is no will made and no proper assignment. These 192 beneficiaries will be paid on or before October 15, 2019, subject to the requisite paperwork being completed. The Attorney General has advised how we can pursue and bring closure to this matter. We have, as I said, just 192 persons outstanding. All of them had family or issues related to the estate, and we have now sought that out. Some of them are receiving calls to come to the Accountant General's office or the Sugar Workers' office to bring their bank accounts and to indicate whether they desire to be paid by check, or in the case of the bank account, the transfers will be made directly. And as I said, that process should be completed on or about the 15th. It is well known that we had set up a temporary office to deal with this matter, and now that this project, we can say, is ended or is ending, I want again to thank Permanent Secretary Mr. Osbert D'Souza for his leadership of this sugar worker restoration program. I record my thanks for the support staff of the Sugar Workers Restoration Fund Office for their work. The office will be closed permanently by the end of October because all payments would have been finalized and all the accounting, etc., would be completed by that purpose. A Herculean task has been well executed as Team Unity delivered on its fair share agenda to over 2,000, I repeat, 2,221 families would have benefited. Compare that generosity and consideration to 2005, when 968 families would have benefited. That is a promise we made, and that is a promise we have delivered. Even after paying off the IMF's debt left behind by the former administration, and with improved fiscal management, we were able to pay double salary to public servants and statutory corporations in St. Kitts and Nevis in 2016, in 2017, and 2018. And I commit to pay again in 2019, God's willing. 4 times in a row. No other government in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis has done what our Team Unity government is doing. 4 double salaries back to back. It has not been done in America. It has not been done in Canada or England. It has not been done anywhere else in the Caribbean. Only in St. Kitts and Nevis, and only under a Team Unity government. We do this, thank you. We do this, and we still are in surplus. We paid the $100 million last year to reclaim land from the Douglas Land for Debt Swap Arrangement to make this land available to the people of Cayon, Lodge, Sandy Point, Victory, and Atlas. The people of our great federation work hard and deserve these opportunities which are being provided by the Team Unity administration. Another area in which we have done extensive work on behalf of the people is in the area of home provision. And I want to refer to the First Time Homeowners Program, the first as it is called, an acronym. The Team Unity government knows how important housing is to our people, and we are committed to supporting them. Under this program, persons who are building their first home are afforded duty-free concessions by the government and all material necessary for the construction of their home. We determined that this was an important part of the empowerment of our people. And while the government through the NHC and through other agencies has been targeting those at the lower level, other persons deserve opportunities too. And by giving them the substantial discount via the waiver of duty-free, we make home ownership easier. What did we inherit? The former administration, in our view, did not do enough to provide persons with homes. And as a result, we have this huge demand for housing. They had 20 years to make a big difference. The truth is, given the accumulation, the backlog, we could well deduce that they fell short, far too short, on delivery. Under the first program in 2014, 114 applications were approved, including that for former Minister Senator Nigel Carty. At the last parliamentary session, he contested whether or not he was first in the line or he was some further down. He said there was 600 persons before him. I did a double check. He was actually the first to have submitted and the third person whose application was approved. Just for the record, in this application of this, we have ensured that no minister of government, no senator would apply under this program. Since 2015, 525 applications have been approved and building materials totaling $147 million. We are encouraging home ownership. And while we are doing that, we get from the same whole opposition the moaning and the complaining. But the progress will continue. In addition, in response to Hurricanes Irma and Maria, we have supported well over 2,000 families with renovation and repair works, and in exceptional cases, some new homes were built. The NHC is well on its way to delivering 400 new homes. And additionally, the Wellington Road condos are moving apace, and everyone marvel at the physical transformation right there at Baker's Corner and Wellington Road. It is a beauty to behold. And it's amazing that after so many years, when that site really needed an uplifting, it took a team unity government to come in. And I want to commend the parliamentary representative for East Barstow for, as it were, taking leadership in ensuring that something beautiful is now emerging right there in the heart of Barstow for the benefit of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Yes, opportunities are increasing for home ownership by more people. We are making a start, but we know that we still have to do a lot more to ensure that all our people who want a house can get one. In the meantime, we encourage those who are desirous of home ownership to begin to save. It is important. It is a lifetime investment. It is the most significant investment you will make. And while people are wanting, they should really enhance their ability to contribute to their own home ownership by setting aside something, however small, even if it is the down payment required, the insurance sums. So should the opportunity come, it is not squandered for want of you not realizing that you should make an investment in home ownership. On October the 8th, and I turn now to the national consultation on our economy. On October the 8th, that is next week, we proceed with national consultations, and we do so against the backdrop of an economy which has grown year after year since 2015. In contrast, in 2010, the economy under the Douglas administration contracted by 3.8%, according to the IMF reports. In 2011, it contracted by 1.9%, and in 2012, it contracted by a further 1%. So over the last 5 years, 2010 to 2014, the economy grew at an anemic rate of just around 1% on average per year. Sometimes you hear them in their fantasy and in their spirit of lack of seriousness, trying to paint a picture that the economy started only in 2013 and 14 when there was the CBI bonanza. The elections were in 2010. And you look at the record, and if we go back even before that, the economy was in decline. So when the economy keeps declining year after year, even with that bump at the end of the tenure, the economy was still very weak. It hadn't moved forward. And that is what we inherited. Truth be told, we will not have a stronger, safer future if we do not keep our economy growing. That is why we will focus on the modernization of the economy and particularly the impact of the digital economy in improving efficiency and effectiveness, production and productivity of St. Kitts and Nevis. This means that the Team Unity administration will be continuing on its public sector reform agenda by moving to a performance merit-based system of reward. By this I mean that we will be improving our international competitiveness by ensuring that labor rates are tied to performance, output, and productivity. In other words, those who work hardest and smartest should get more from their job, should get better rewards. These principles are very much at work in the private sector, and the application to the public sector will benefit the public servants and our country as a whole. A strong economy means we can continue to create more jobs and deliver more opportunities for our young people, especially in the tourism, agriculture, and services sectors. We are engaging our socioeconomic actors against the backdrop of a significantly improved security environment. Homicides are down 43% over the period January to September 2019 when compared to the comparative period in 2018. In 2018 at this time, according to the statistics provided by Commissioner Brandy, we had 22 homicides. This year, homicides have fallen to 12. Still too many, but this is a significant drop in homicides, and it is a huge relief, which is welcome by all patriotic citizens and well-wishers of our country. The HDA, the Tourism Department, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the churches, the man on the street all welcome this season of peace and calm. All except the desperate opposition are happy. We give God thanks for his blessings so far, and we urge all persons with illegal weapons to turn them over to the security officers. We commend those who have already done so on this positive development. Total major crimes for the year so far are down by 29%, and this is one of the best performances over the last 10 years. In other words, we are making our country safer and more secure. As of yesterday, the Commissioner reported that we had a 42% in the reduction in break-ins year on year. When you look at the same period, 2018 to 2019, break-ins are down 42%. That is significant. There was a 24% reduction in sexual assaults. People are having less cases of abuse. A 25% reduction in non-fatal shootings, and a 24% reduction in larcenies. Further at-risk groups continue to display positive behavioral changes and have developed a renewed trust in the police. This was reflected in recent times by the handover of some 30 illegal weapons and some 96 rounds of assorted ammunition. Every gun that we take off the street and out of the hand of a criminal element makes our country safer and our people more secure. And we should encourage anyone that we know who has an illegal weapon to turn it over to the police. I want to end on a note of congratulations. Congratulations to Commissioner Brandy and his High Command. I want to include in that commendation the Lieutenant Colonel Comrie and his officers at the Defense Force for the outstanding work. I must commend the initial engagement team for their outreach to these vulnerable and at-risk groups, the family and friends who have been urging our young men to change from a life of crime to one of productivity, driven by entrepreneurship and legitimate and respectable employment. And I want to thank all those members or former members of the gangs who have determined that their life is important, that they will make a difference to the peace and security of themselves, their families, and their country. And I thank them for opting for new ways of engagement. I want to commend the Explorers Clubs. We had on parade near 750 young children, a new addition to our national parade, highlighting their awareness and their desire to serve their country, highlighting their partnership with law enforcement. We hope from that cadre of young people, we will find recruits in the future for law enforcement, so we will have less need to go abroad to secure, and we will invest in their development. Indeed, already we have started developing a camp or headquarters for them that will cost us some $3 million. But if we invest in them now, we will have to spend less later on the matter of security. And so we are happy to have made that decision. Yesterday I visited the site in Phillips, and to see the young men at work on the project and to receive their commendation for what they know is something wonderful that is happening in their community and in the country. I also would like, finally, on a note of commendation, to commend His Excellency, our Governor General Sir Tapley Seaton, and his award of an honorary doctorate by the University of the West Indies, and to say how well deserved he is. He's a man who has given incredible service to this country through all areas, public officer, private sector, the NGO community. Sir Tapley has always been there. And I want, on behalf of the Cabinet, to extend our publicly our commendation to him, and this choice by the university of him as a fit and proper person to be awarded that high honor.